guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today you join me at 6 months of ownership with my 2020 Toyota Supra. So today we're going to basically do a review on it, kind of talk about what it's been like to own the last few months. So starting all off with the modifications that I have done, and the first thing you saw in today's video was an amazing cold start with the AWE catback exhaust system. This thing sounds so good because of that exhaust. I'm definitely loving it. So then under the hood we got a few other goodies. We have the FTP Motorsports charge pipe right there, and then over on this side we have the MST Performance cold air intake. So pretty nice under the hood already. And then one thing that you can definitely notice within the looks of the vehicle, I have a set of the ESR wheels. They are the RF2s. Really good fitment all around. They're about a ½ inch wider than stock, same diameter and the original tires. And with that, the car is sitting on a set of the H&R lowering springs, which gave it a really good, just about 1 inch drop. So the car's sitting really good. And then we have the XPEL window tint, full paint correction on the front end, and then ceramic coating all around. And then one last look at the AWE 5-inch tips. So that is a good look. So now let's hop in the Supra, hit some fun roads, and talk about what it's like to own. So 6 months later then, to review this car, I guess we're gonna start off with why in the world did I buy the new A90 Toyota Supra? Now, when I bought this, my main focus was to get a car that could kind of take the daily driving stress off of my Nissan GT-R. If you're new to the channel, that's my other car. I've owned that for over 2 years now. So at the time I bought this, I had owned the GT-R for about 1.5 years. It was the daily, drove it all the time, and 6 months prior to buying this car, I had moved closer into the city limits of my town, where I have to like drive over train tracks and little tight roads all the time. So 6 months of driving the GT-R, having to go 10 minutes through those types of roads to get anywhere, kind of made that car really annoying. That transmission is pretty clunky. It's an old school dual clutch, so it's not really refined. So slow speed driving the GT-R was not the most fun thing to do. I would rather not do that. So I was really looking for a car that could be a good normal car, something that had a basic automatic, like a torque converter automatic, and something that was nimble, tight around turns, rear wheel drive to where the steering was lighter, no tire hop or anything weird like that in reverse. So I wanted a normal, fun, cool car. And luckily the Supra, we had already seen a lot of hype on this car. I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to be that $50,000 to $60,000 price range, so I knew it was something that I could actually afford. So with that, the Supra also, the name Supra has been an icon for me. I've always been a fan of the Supras and Skylines. They're just my favorite import cars. I'm a big import and exotic fan. So for the imports, I love those two cars. I love those two names. So with the Supra, I thought it would be perfect. Let's get the new Supra. That way I have a Supra and a Skyline in my garage, just the most modern versions of those cars. And the fact that this had all the normal daily driving things I was looking for, I was pretty excited about that. I liked the fact that it had the normal stuff in it, and then it also had a lot of the technology, being this is built by BMW. This has all the infotainment setup, the radar cruise control, blind spot alert, all that kind of new stuff you're going to find in a modern car. So I was really excited about the combination that you were going to get with the new Supra. And I also knew the performance of this car was pretty good. It had a turbocharged engine, you know, all the fun stuff for actually being a really good track car. So that's kind of why I bought it. I wanted a good all-around daily driver car that could also be a really good sports car. And quite honestly, that's exactly what this car is. I am very impressed with how this car is kind of a one-trick pony. If you are looking for one good sports car, daily driver car, doesn't break the bank, easy to drive, fun to drive, tuning potential, if you don't need rear seats, you know, this is definitely a car to look at because it can do all that stuff very well. I guess next thing is going over some of the mods and performance of it. We went over all the actual modifications. As far as the performance and how those modifications affect it, I like how everything's done a little bit better. And stock tuning and everything. This dyno's at 350 wheel horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque at the wheels. So that is much over what Toyota is saying this engine comes with. So it's a powerful engine, it has a lot of tuning capabilities, and whenever you do a modification, it improves it. Doing the intake definitely made it just a little bit cleaner in the acceleration. You hear the turbo noises, which being a turbo car, you want to have those noises. That just makes it a million times more fun. The charge pipe is metal versus plastic, so that's going to hold more boost. And then the AWE exhaust just makes it sound so good. So just a small acceleration, not in sport mode yet, so just to hear the tone of it. I love that. And then the cool thing is when you are in sport mode, that makes it to where it pops and bangs a little bit, the throttle response is sharper, you hear more of the exhaust tone because the tuning is more aggressive. it's like thunder hitting you in the back every shift, which is so crazy. So that's kind of a little bit about the mods and what they do. And as far as driving that I've done with this has been a daily. It is so filthy dirty right now because I've been driving this in the rain for the last 2 months. The GT-R has been perfectly clean for like 2 or 3 months straight now. But I have been on the racetrack. I actually did that right after I broke it in that 1,500 miles. And out on the racetrack, this car is so impressive. The differential, it has an electronically controlled rear differential, a limited slip. It is so good. Going around turns from 30 miles an hour to 70 by the exit of the turn, no wheel spin, going full throttle in like 50-degree weather. So I was super impressed with that. I am planning a mountain trip with it, but I have done quite a few little road trips on some country roads, kind of like this road right here. And it really is a car that does such a good job. It's super nimble. It feels very light on its toes. The 8-speed is extremely responsive. And I like how when you're in the performance traction control mode, there's like enough wheel spin to play with the car and have fun, but it's not too much wheel spin to where it stops you from doing anything. It doesn't just cut power and you have no power for a couple seconds. And then the overall braking and steering and everything, it really is a car put together super well to where it does feel like a good sports car. I would much rather take this on a nice little mountain road trip than the GT-R just because it's so nimble and pretty easy to drive fast, quite honestly. But I love the blend you get. And then the power, one of the crazy things, of course we always want our cars more powerful, and I will be making this more powerful, of course, but it honestly doesn't even need it. The power it has is plenty to get you out of every turn, and I don't honestly see a need to actually add that. Like, that was a very steep up, down, and it just does such a good job. And then the Brembo brakes it has on it, super good. I never feel any issues with that when I was out on the track or any kind of fun driving. So it definitely does everything that you need. And then as far as actual straight line performance, so 20 miles an hour I can't talk today. I really can't talk, oh my gosh. Second gear, 20 miles an hour, full throttle. I mean, that is 20 to 60 really quick. But it's crazy how out of the box the performance you get for the price you pay, I think is actually really good. You get a lot for the money, and the fact that it has all that performance but then can be just a good normal daily, that makes it a pretty good blend. So that's kind of what I've been using it for. It's been my normal car. I'll take this basically whenever it's raining out, whenever I just want to be comfortable and drive basically worry-free, just comfortable cruising. It's got a comfortable seat, nice to sit in. It's not the biggest car out there, so if you're maybe a bigger person or something, it might be harder to get in and out of. I'm 5'11", slender body type, obviously. I fit perfectly fine inside the car, but getting in and out of it is actually kind of hard for me. Like, I hit my back on the roof quite a bit, and being that I have this side against the wall in my garage, I can only open the door halfway, so it is hard for me to squeeze myself into this car. So it's not the easiest thing to get in and out of if you are doing that like every day, many times during the day. But overall, though, once you're in it, at least like most sports cars, it's perfectly comfortable and I don't really have any problems with that. As far as interior storage space and stuff like that, for me, honestly, a Lotus Elise is as much space as I really need. This has a really good sized trunk and it is a hatchback, so you could actually fit 2 sets of golf bags in there if you needed to, and you can easily fit luggage and all sorts of that. So 2 people can definitely fit as much luggage, I think, as you would ever need and go on a trip or road trip or whatever. And especially me, I mean, most things I ever have is a lunchbox and a camera bag. So it's pretty usable for that sort of thing. And then using the technology in it's very easy. The adaptive cruise control is actually probably my favorite thing about it. And this is a full speed system, so it'll bring the car to a complete stop. And then when the traffic starts moving, if I just tap the gas real quick or tap the plus side button on the steering wheel, the car will start accelerating again. So it is super cool to do that. When I do take it on long road trips, I love how at the end of the day when I just want to get home, I can do the cruise control, sit back, and literally the car drives itself home, which I love that feature. And then using the BMW technology in it, it's making me like BMWs more and more, quite honestly. So I am liking that aspect. So then to move on to future plans, so adding the AW exhaust was the biggest mod so far and my most favorite mod because every car needs a good exhaust. And I know when I do a downpipe, which is something on the list, maybe the next few months, that'll make it just even better. Everything will be even better. And then tuning is the next thing I would want to do right after the downpipe. That'll just optimize everything that I have on the car. And from what we've seen with a tune and a downpipe, you can literally add about 100 horsepower. It's some serious biggest power gains. So I think with a downpipe and tune, I should be in the 400 range for horsepower and at least mid to upper 400s in torque, closer to 500 quite honestly. So it has a lot of potential for that, and that's probably about it for performance modifications for the meantime. Eventually I would like to do an upgraded turbo. I think that'd be a great next step up, and to really do that I'm going to need to get wider tires. I believe they're 285s on it right now, so I'm thinking 305s or 315s. Those should fit on these wheels that I have, so that would be something I would want to do if I'm going to upgrade the turbo at least. So then as far as cosmetics, not really too much. I have the mirrors wrapped to match my wheels, so a nice bronze look to them, and of course all this stuff I have videos on, so check out the Supra playlist. You'll see that at the end of today's video, so click that playlist and you can check out all the videos I've done on this car. But really just the wheels, the lowering springs, and the wrap, and then of course the tinted windows. That's all I've done for cosmetics. I think I want to do a lip spoiler of some sort. I'm thinking black. I think that might look kind of cool. Get it in a black plastic to match the lower trim. And that's kind of it for the outside. A lot of people ask if I'm going to wide body it. I'm not into that. That will literally destroy the value in this car. I'm just not doing that. Which I guess leads me then to how long will I have this car? Honestly, maybe less than 2 years. I kind of bought it to be my long-term car, but the more I drive this back to back with the GT-R, I'm not getting rid of the GT-R, so that means this is the car that's going to have to cycle to the next one. But with that said, I'm loving it, I'm enjoying it, I'm definitely going to have fun with it for the next year or so. But I think that kind of wraps it up for a 6-month update owning the Toyota Supra. It's a really good all-around car. I would say competitors with this would be a BMW M2 competition and a Porsche Cayman. The Porsche Cayman is probably the closest competitor, being a 2-seater layout. The M2, I do like the dual clutch better than the automatic that this car has. The M2 is like $5,000 or $6,000 more from option per option equal, and you do get back seats. So that is a really good alternative if you want this type of car, but in a little bit more practical sizing. So an M2 is a good competitor, and then the Porsche, that's a great idea as well. It doesn't really compete with anything else because there's not really many two-door, two-seater cars on the market. I have 3,651 miles on it right now. I average about 24 miles per gallon in it. It only costs like 25 bucks to fill up. It's got a little tiny tank. I only get like 150 miles on a range. But I think that's going to then wrap up today's video. 6 months owning the A90 2020 Toyota Supra. It's a really good all-around car. Like, it really is. It has a lot to offer. Quality is really good. Performance is really good. It's just really good all around, and not too much to complain about. The only thing I hate, the dual zone climate control, you cannot sync them. So that is the only stupid thing about it, really. Other than that, really well laid out. I'm happy with it, and time for some more mods. So that is it, guys. Give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next video.
Do just what you want.